I propose we take a number of contributors from each side of the House. I will propose we do this in batches. Can we start with 5-5? Now, each contributor five. That's 25, 50 minutes. That's a lot. So we start. We start with the. I hope my proposal is accepted. No. Yes. So we start with. You want 2-2? Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, I couldn't join you in your pre-sitting meeting, so I'm not too sure of what was determined. But you sound that you are going to have, for the first round, 5 contributors, and it's open-ended. I don't know what really you aim at, what number. And then you are saying that even the 5, everybody is going to have 5 minutes. That is 25 times 2. It will elicit responses. So how many do you have in mind to call so we know? Because the first one alone is going to be more than 1 hour. And that's why I want to know what you have in mind. I wasn't there. If any determination was made, I was not part of it, but I want to know.
Majority Leader, I premised my statement with this general statement that I will be guided by the leadership of both sides. And I'm proposing, and that's a proposal I've made, 5-5. And I kept on asking. And I heard majority saying yes, yes, yes. About 2-3 people said no, no. So I wanted to go by the 5-5. But as for the number of times, that one, I've not stated anything. If we take the 5-5 and it's okay, that ends it. If you wanted to start with 2-2, no problem. Yes, minority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue under consideration is a very important one. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that we are ready to sit in till late to discuss it and to bring this matter to a finality. I would suggest that the first 5-5 is appropriate, so we do 5-5, and then we can go for a second round before leader. And then we elicit answers, and if the answers are satisfactory, Mr. Speaker, we can take action from there. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the impression that I'm getting is that the contributors, they are going to further elicit responses from the 3 of them, the Electoral Commission, NIA, and the Finance Ministry. And if it's going to elicit responses, that is perhaps if you have to do 5-5, I have no have to be cut to say maybe 2 minutes for the 5. Each one has 2 minutes. Let's not forget, even in budget debate, sometimes when we are constrained, we speak for our 5 minutes. So I think that 2 minutes. The issues are the main. The matters should concern all of us. But I believe that isolating a matter and relating to it should not take 5 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I would plead that in that regard, we allow for about 2 minutes for each person to address whatever issue the person wants to bring up.
Mr. Speaker, today is a special day. It is not business as usual. As we sit here, it is being telecast live. Members, our constituents are sending questions even through mobile phones, meaning they have developed interest in what is happening here. So, Mr. Speaker, after this meeting, whatever signal is going to send out there, if there are questions that we're supposed to ask, but the time has not been given for members to ask those questions, Ghanaians will not forgive us. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, there are 3 presentations. There's a financial presentation by the Minister of Finance. There's civic presentation by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission and the NIA. Mr. Speaker, these presentations, all things being equal, if you are to structure them into interrogation, the legal people have their questions to ask. The finance people have their questions to ask. The digital people have their questions to ask on data and all those things. Before it comes to the governance, even some minority leaders and members of this are debated for 3 hours, even some 2 days. The issue under this consideration, like I said by the minority leader, is a sensitive one. Look at this, how popular the House has become. The Speaker, since when did we record this kind of attendance? So let's have time and be able to ask the necessary questions. Civil society is waiting to hear the questions that will be asked and the responses. The academia are waiting to hear the representatives. So as questions are coming, we must be given the chance to ask. The Speaker, I will opine that the first round 5-5, the second round 5-5, then 3-3 for leadership. So making 13. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Speaker, I think we don't need to. Speaker, with respect, we don't need. Wants us to do 50-50 questions. We are ready for it. But fact be told, if before we adopted the committee's report, Minority Leader, you agree with me? 3 key concerns were teased out: the funding matters, the guarantor concerns, and the registration at a point. These were 3 key issues that came up. Of course, I agree with him. There may be concerns about financial issues, but we are fortunate. We have all the 3 personalities. The Minister of Finance is here. He has spoken. He's confirmed. The Minister has confirmed the outstanding. He's confirmed the outstanding. He's also confirmed the payment plan. So why do you want to overly drag this matter? But in any case, Speaker, with respect, as I said, if they want us to do 100 questions or even more,
Honorable members, 5-5, 2 minutes per person. 5-5. What is question? It's questions. Oh, I thought we are going to critique. 5 minutes. 5. That is a compromise. 5, 5, 3 minutes. We start from the left side. And so the first 5, we have Honorable Dominic Ayine, Honorable Mama Yarga, Honorable Ablakwa, and then Honorable Dafiamapo. 5. Please, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Honorable Dominic.
Mr. Speaker, the matter that we are being called upon to decide this evening is a matter of grave national importance. It goes to the heart of our democracy. It is about the right to vote. It is also about the exercise of the constitutional mandate of the Electoral Commission. Mr. Speaker, we've had occasion in this House to deliberate on this matter.
Honorable Member, 3 minutes.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
We have gone through
very
this.
Well, Mr. Speaker.
All what you are saying, we've gone through them.
Mr. Speaker, I have in my hand here a letter from the Electoral Commission, which was written on the 7th of December 2022, and it was addressed to myself as chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee and copied to the Majority Leader, the Honorable Chairman, the Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, and the first attachment, Exhibit 1, said that the number of persons who registered using the vouching system and who were challenged was 15,478. 478. Mr. Speaker, today, in her speech, the chairperson of the EC is now saying that she was able to expunge, or the EC was able to expunge 40,000 minors and foreigners from the register during the registration exercise. Can she honestly reconcile the two figures for us in this House? This is a House of record. Mr. Speaker, the other thing is that if the CI that she's bringing were passed today, it would have meant that from the presentation of the NIA, there would be 3.7 million Ghanaians who will not be able to walk to the registration center and register as easily as she has made it to seem from the figures that have been presented. How does she square that with her mandate under the Constitution to expand the voters' register? That's my second question. Then, the other question is, Mr. Speaker, my last question is on Regulation 9. One of the reasons she has given is that she's not conducting the continuous registration because the current law does not permit her to do that in an easy way. But, Mr. Speaker, how does she reconcile that proposition with the fact that Regulation 9 is in substance the same as proposed Regulation 9 that she's bringing to be enacted. In other words, she can do the same thing seamlessly under the current law she would, be purporting to do
Your
the law comes into
time
effect.
is up. Your
Thank
time
you,
is
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mama Yarga. Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Mrs. Jane Mensah, who herself just, as she reported, returned from Nigeria. I want to believe that she traveled to Nigeria on a Ghanaian passport and not a Ghanaian national ID card. So we want to find out what her problem is accepting the Ghanaian passport for purposes of voter registration and insisting solely on the use of the national ID. So because a Ghanaian from Sombo may arrive in Accra today on Ghanaian passport, travel to Nadoli for purpose of registration. He arrived the day that the NIA is not available to register him as a voter, but he's a Ghanaian with a passport who wants to get registered onto our electoral roll pursuant to his right guaranteed under Article 42 of the Constitution. What will happen to that Ghanaian? And then two, we need you to establish, and Mr. Speaker, we are demanding that this is established. We want technical evidence of data sharing infrastructure between the National Electoral Commission, the National Identification Authority, and all other agencies that are likely to use the data of national ID card so that we can synchronize. Because, Mr. Speaker, I'm holding 2 ID cards here. Your identifiable individual carried pins are different. So for purpose of synchronization, if there is no evidence of infrastructure of data sharing, you cannot reconcile the pins on this. We need evidence of the infrastructure sharing. Then finally, Mr. Speaker, when we listened to Mrs. Jane Mensah, chairperson of the Electoral Commission, you stated unequivocally that 10 million national ID cards were used in the 2020 election. Your total registered voters for the purpose of the 2020 elections, Mr. Speaker, was 13 million. Did you declare the 33 million additional votes illegitimate? Was it of any sense or of... No, I said, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to reconcile that. Mr. Speaker, in her speech,
Honorable member, your time is up.
I'm ending on it.
Your time is up.
Mr. Speaker, I'm just concluding on a figure. I'm saying that total votes cast in Ghana, 250 other than Ghana card, were their votes illegitimate and they did undermine our democracy. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, Mama Yarga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the presentation of the chairperson, she indicated that she is running away from the guarantor system because it is subject to abuse. At the last time she appeared before our committee, and she made these statements. I asked her a question, which is the fact that the National Identity Register Amendment Act of 2017 has made provision for the National Identification Authority to also use a guarantor system. So why are you running away from your guarantor system to embrace a guarantor system that the National Identification Authority is using? Can you explain to that? Secondly, if in the last registration exercise, 10 million people had Ghana ID cards and they presented it for the purposes of registration, and the National Identification Authority is claiming that by the next registration exercise or the continuous registration exercise, they would have enabled about 70 million people to have ID cards, Ghana cards. Why don't you leave it so that it remains voluntary? Because people know that it is easier for them to just present their Ghana cards and register. Why don't you make it voluntary? So that if all of them actually have the Ghana cards, they will easily bring it and come and register. Why do you make it compulsory? Why do you make it compulsory? People will naturally register with their Ghana card if they have it, because it's the easiest thing for them to do, which is to register with their Ghana card. That's why we are against you making it compulsory. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, you cite a legal grounds, which is the National Identity Register Regulations of 2011, LI 2111. You are my senior at the bar. Think you are my senior at the law faculty. Go and look at the Parent Act, the National Identity Register Act. The National Identity Register Act in section 29, use of national identity card. Use of national identity card. It says the national identity card may be used to facilitate B, the provision of personal information to a person entitled to receive the information. Mr. Speaker, it says may be used. May be used. Then you go and make regulations under this same act that gives you power to make regulations, and now say that a national identity card issued to an individual shall be used. Shall be used. The Parent Act doesn't say shall be used. The Parent Act says may be used. So the Electoral Commission will not be bound by this LI. Mr. Speaker, apart from that, the Citizenship Act.
Honourable Member, your time is up.
Can I conclude, Mr. Speaker? Can I conclude?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, can I conclude?
It's not my fault. Your time is up. Your time is up. Honourable members, that is the decision of this House. So I am to enforce the law. And you, whether you are shouting or you are hitting the table, it can't change. 3 minutes is 3 minutes. So your time is up. Honourable Ablakwa.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to seek your leave, if it's possible, to cede 30 seconds of my time to Honourable Ayariga. So I promise you I'll use 2.5 minutes. I promise you. I promise
you. He says 30 seconds from now.
Mr. Speaker, the Citizenship Act of 2000, Act 591, provides for citizenship. And so it says that the minister may, on an application made by or on behalf of any person with respect to whose citizenship of Ghana a doubt exists under Part 1 of this Act, certify that the person is a citizen of Ghana. Just to make a point that you cannot make Ghana card the only mechanism for establishing citizenship.
Honorable Ablakwa, 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Very grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, my first question is directed at the Electoral Commissioner. I want to find out from the Electoral Commissioner why she thinks that this Honourable House should allow for this CI to be passed on mere assurance, knowing that she wanted us to do this in July last year. Imagine if we had come along. See where we are today. 8 months down the lane, we still do not have the NIA ready. Imagine if we came along in July last year. And if she should be minded, the last time a Minister of State decided to use NIA and rely on deadlines and all of that, the Communications Minister, her hands were bent. She kept extending deadlines and she even abandoned it. She no longer extended the deadline again, and she's abandoned the SIM card registration deadline. And I thought you'll have. We want to see a warrant. We want to see evidence that you have released funds. Because your record in this house, you told us you won't go to IMF. You told us you use public cathedral. You did. You told us that individual bondholders will be paid by 21st February. You failed. So your record in this house is not good. We will not take your word. We won't take your assurance for it. We want to see evidence. Evidence. Warrant. Evidence of payment. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the NIA.
Your time is up.
The NIA, finally, NIA.
No, finally.
We want a breakdown of the figure. The 60 million, district by district.
The last 5, Dafia Mako. Dafia Mako, 3 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, we have been told by this House and the EC that Regulation 2111/2012, as quoted by my learned brother, Honorable Ayariga.
2011.
2012.
2011.
Regulation 2111 is 2012.
No, the year is 2011, not 2012.
The airline. Okay, Mr. Speaker, we have been told that Regulation 2111 makes mandatory use of the card. But this is what the law says. It says that a national identity card issued. That is the controlling phrase. That a person must be issued with the card before he or she could be demanded to use it mandatorily. So the interpretation they are placing on this provision is misleading. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, if I am not issued with the card, no entity can expect me to make mandatory use of it. That is what the law is saying. Number two, the proposed instrument says that other than the EC office, which is the registered office of the Electoral Commission in the district, no existing polling station will be designated a registration center. When the existing CI 91 makes clear provision in Regulation 2, Sub-Regulation 4, that all existing polling stations be made designated registration centers, because the law requires that registration centers ought to be gazetted 4 clear weeks before registration commences. The tenor of the new provision will tell us, we will not know the number of polling stations that will be converted as registration centers to be known to the key players. So we want them to answer that. Mr. Speaker, regulation clause 33 of the proposed CI, I have said it, others doubt it. That is the saving provision. It may be saving, but under that clause, the EC can decide to compile a new voters register tomorrow based on the bastardization of the voters register they have now. They claim it has been abused as a result of the grantor system. So if the CI is passed today and she proceeds to compile a voters register tomorrow, it is Parliament that will be blamed for that. Mr. Speaker, this
Honourable Member, your time. Honourable members, we now listen to Honourable Habib.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question goes to the NIA. I can't see the Speaker. I can't see. Mr. Speaker, NIA, Electoral Commission is relying on your Ghana card to use it as a sole ID for the continual registration. Now there is CI 91. There is a guarantor system already in CI 91. NIA, you also have a guarantor system. I would like to know from the Executive Secretary of NIA, what's the difference between your guarantor system under NIA and that of the EC CI 91? And question number 2, who administered the oath, if there is any, on NIA and Electoral Commission? How is your guarantor system also work? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, this question goes to the Electoral Commission. Article 51, in particular, for the registration of voters, the conduct of public elections and referenda, including provision for Now, can you explain to us why the proposed CI is very important and how the CI will expose impersonators and fraudsters who don't have any form of identity? Thank you.
Honourable members, it's now the time for Honourable Yao Guama. Honourable Yao Guama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commissioner on page 6 of her report to the House stated that she 50,000 Ghanaians every year. We know the exercise couldn't take place in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, going into 20. So my estimation is about 1.8 million Ghanaians to be registered between now and the next elections. We know you've put in place measures to take care of this backlog. My question is, what are some of the inherent challenges within all the legislations that members have raised that you are seeking to cure
to ensure that we have a credible register. I believe that is the concern of every member on the floor, to have a very credible register and to ensure that every Ghanaian 18
Prem.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think the biggest source of confusion listening to members is that they suspect that the Electoral Commission wants to conduct a registration exercise for a totally new register. That's the fundamental basis. Who are already registered and eligible to vote at the last election will count the same. Then I must ask, what is the fear? Meaning that my question is that some people have already set. My question is that some answering their own question and then taking the answers back to the Electoral Commission to justify their answers. If the old register holds, and that's so 17 million people who are the old register, need not register again. That is the assurance this House needs. As for the continued registration, I'm not giving a speech. You might not understand it. As for continuous registration, I want to know whether members do agree with the Electoral Commission that going forward, continuous registration will be really continuous registration. I know your thoughts. Yeah. Because there's an erroneous impression being created that every polling station will become a registration center. Never in this country has every polling station been a registration center at the same time. So what is your fear? In 2012, my 10 questions. In 2011, if true, in 2011, if this House, Excellency John Atta Mills, passed an NI, or brought an NI to this House that was passed, that said in 2011, for the purposes of identification, the national ID card is the #1 identity register. What is your fear 12 years down the line? If the EC says every Ghanaian should use a national ID, what do you have to hide? Thank you.
Honorable members, we now take Honorable Ano Dompre.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my first question is to the Finance Minister. And let me premise that question with a fact. Speaker, not too long ago, Parliament has some outstanding. Myself and the Deputy related to the Finance Ministry, and duly that outstanding was released. I want to find out from the Minister, in the same vein, can he assure this House that in the next 2 days or so, the outstanding 20 million Ghana cedis own the NIA? Speaker, the 20 million own the NIA. Can the Minister assure us that this outstanding will be duly paid? This will be my first question to the Finance Minister. Staff on cars to be printed is 3 million, some are saying 2 million. Today we are hearing about 541,000. Can the NIA say on authority what the outstanding cards are. And then in the event of you being provided with outstanding 20 million by the Finance Ministry, can you guarantee this House, as you made known in your presentation, that within 11 days, as you stated, within 11 days, all the outstanding will be dealt with? Again, we've heard concerns about guarantor system, and I'll be happy to be educated. What is the problem with the guarantor system, and how can that be cured? Finally, the use of the Ghana card as the main source of identification.
Honourable Member, your time is up. Your time is up.
We are just concluding.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Yes, I'm concluding.
Unless somebody
whether
grants
the
you
NIA
30
boss
seconds.
can tell us, or the EC boss can tell us, the use
Honourable
of...
Member, your time is up. Now, I'll allow the EC and the NIA to respond to the issues you have raised. We will start with the EC.
Yes, thank you very much. I think Honorable Ablakwa raised the issue of, the EC's intention to have started the continuous registration in July. And he notes that, that was 8 months ago. And in his view, if the CI had been passed, the Commission would not have been able to achieve or attain, the continuous registration because of the challenges that they. And I believe that is true. But it's important that we recognize that it is a continuous registration exercise. Had we had a system where it was a limited registration exercise, let's say that in July of 2022, we decided to conduct a that challenge. Because at the end of 4 weeks, if persons didn't have the register, they would not be able to. If they didn't have the NIA card, we would not be able to register them. But the good news is that this is a continuous registration process. And had we initiated the process as far back as July, people would still not be disenfranchised, because if they do not have the card today, they could always have it tomorrow. So what we are saying is that had we been maintaining the limited registration process, then the NIA's inability to supply the cards would have led to disenfranchising citizens. Because we have a continuous process, if you don't have the card in July, you can have the card in March and still come to the register. So I think 2024, there is no rush. I think Honorable Harun Idisu raised the issue about 10 million people using the Ghana card to prove their citizenship or to qualify to be registered. And he noted that, 13.4 million people, voted in the 2020 election. And so why is the EC, or is the EC classifying that the 3 million who may have come through the guarantor system or the passport as illegitimate? and did the EC, disqualify them, and so on and so forth. But I think that at the time, I think it's important that we recognize that at the time of the registration, we had, in addition to the Ghana card, people could come through using the guarantor system and the passport. And so therefore, they were not, I think we should understand. So therefore, they were not illegal because the law provided that they could come. Yeah, the law provided. Yeah, because the law, I think we should understand. I think it's a simple argument. You have a law, and you have a law that allows you to use the Ghana card to come through the guarantor system or to use the passport to prove your eligibility. Those who came in using the passports or the guarantor system cannot be classified as illegal because at the time it was the law. But under this law, under this law, under this law, we are saying that you cannot come in through the guarantor system or use a passport to prove your citizenship. Under this law, we are saying that you cannot, under this here, we are saying that you cannot come in or prove your eligibility through the guarantor system or the passport. So here, if you come in, here basically under this here, you can't come under those, conditions. But in the past, you could, and therefore you cannot be classified as being illegal. So if you have 10 million persons coming who registered using the Ghana card, and you also have, you have using the guarantor system or the passport. Under the previous law, they could not be classified as illegal. I think that because he has on his sheet a figure of 15,000 plus who were challenged as minors. If you look on that sheet, you will find that 32,762 people were successfully challenged during the registration process under the DRLC. And in our records, we have an additional 7,000 plus who were challenged. And these 32 were successfully challenged because they were either minors or foreigners. 32,762. They were successfully challenged during the registration and during the district registration review committee sittings. They were challenged because they were either minors or foreigners. But apart from that, we also have an additional 7,000 persons who were challenged as part of our adjudication process because we could not identify, they could not be identified for identification purposes. I think the question was also asked about the difference between the NIA guarantor system and the Electoral Commission's guarantor system. Hello? I think the NIA system is more. They oath.
Honorable members, please, you have asked questions. She is answering the questions. You may disagree with her, but please listen to her. Later on, we can take that on. Let's listen to her answers first. Please go on.
Yeah. I think that the NIA guarantor system is more robust because they have persons who come through swearing an oath, whilst we don't. Secondly, I think that those who serve as guarantors have their details attached to the registrants. Don't. And then thirdly, there's evidence that more people have registered for the Ghana card. More people have the Ghana card. And that's why we intend to rely on that. And then there was a question on data sharing as well. We are not, as we speak, we are not doing data sharing. There's no sharing of data between the NIA and, automatic sharing of data between the NIA and the EC. However, we have the ability to, expunge persons on our register and forward it to the NIA for verification. But we do not have an automatic, data sharing facility existing between our two organizations. However, we can expunge, we can draw up a list of data sharing facility with them. I think there was also a question, there was a question on the registration centers. And the CI, the draft CI that lies before us, Regulation 2.2, or let's say 2.1 and 2.2 of the CI speaks about the designation of registration centers. And it says that the Commission shall designate as a registration center the district office of the Commission and any other place that the Commission considers appropriate. As such, this, once again, should the Commission deem it fit to establish registration centers in places other than the district office, the CI makes provision for that. I know the argument has been made that some of the district offices may be far, but if you look at Regulation 2.B, it says that the Commission shall designate as a registration center any other place that the Commission considers appropriate. And therefore, centers can be set up outside the district offices. So basically that is it. It is not limited to only the district offices, but centers can be set up in any other place that the Commission deems fit. And therefore, in difficult to access district offices, the Commission will take steps to designate, accessible centers as registration centers. I think there was also a question on whether the EC is going to be compiling a new register. And I think we made it clear in our statement that the EC will not be compiling a new voters register. What we are doing is to add on to our previously did not participate in the voters register. And so we are not going to be compiling a new register. We are merely updating and adding on by making available opportunities for persons who have turned 18 or persons who are not previously registered to come on board the register should they deem fit.
Are they finished? Education Authority. Ayarga's question will be answered by the National Identification Authority. They will answer it.
Mr. Speaker.
Your question.
Yes, I did ask a question.
Yes.
About Regulation 9. Mr. Speaker, I have read thoroughly the statement of the EC chairperson, and basically it is founded on the premise that the current CI, that is CI 91, does not allow for the kind of continuous registration that she wants to do with the new CI. Meanwhile, Regulation 9 of the old CI and Regulation 9 of the new CI coincide in their substance. Mr. Speaker, this is very important. She should be able to convince this House that if that is the premise of the change in the law, okay, the substantive content of Regulation 9 in the proposed CI should be different from the substantive content in the old one. But that is not the case, Mr. Speaker. So she should be able to answer that question right now. It's important, Mr. Speaker. Very, very important. No, it's okay.
Yes, EC, just respond to this issue.
Honorable Aine, my classmate, I think that, the emphasis with this current CI that lies before us is that we are seeking to mainstream the continuous registration exercise. In the previous CI, it was not, that was not the emphasis. But if you look at this CI, it is to seek to mainstream, make it part and parcel of our daily functions, to have continuous registration. Additionally, the CI, the documentation that one has to provide to prove one's eligibility. And we know that in the previous CI, you had to provide either the passport, the Ghana card, or to come through the guarantor system. But in this CI, the difference is that we are seeking to apply or ensure that persons who come through with only the Ghana card. But the significant difference is that this CI seeks to mainstream continuous registration and to make it a part and parcel of our daily functions. Thank you.
Yes, Executive Secretary, National Identification Authority.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will address the question or comment by Honourable Dr. Dominic Aine. I do not see what aspects of NIA's presentation leads to the conclusion that 3.7 million Ghanaians would not be able to vote if, for example, they wanted to do so today. There's nothing I have said. There's nothing in the data that we provided that would lead anyone to that conclusion, if I could be aided, but certainly not from the presentation I made. Second, I'd like to draw attention, speak to the issue that Honourable Mahama Ayariga raised about
Mr. Speaker, there is a point of correction. Because the Chief Executive Officer of the NIA mentioned me with respect to certain figures. Mr. Speaker, he said to this House, he's on record, as having said that 2,565,705 eligible voters are yet to be registered onto, or eligible persons are yet to be registered. Is that correct or not? Is that correct or not?
Yes.
That's 2,565,705 persons eligible to be registered by your entity are yet to be registered. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman.
No, it's from your own slides.
Please.
It's from your own slides.
No. Honorable, you came on point of order. Yes, leader, let me hear you. I'll come back.
Mr. Chairman, with the greatest respect, we are in a committee of the whole, and our orders provide, with the greatest respect, in Order 200, that in committees the standing orders of the House shall be observed so far as may be applicable. Mr. Speaker, we are not here for cross-examination. You ask a question, the person is answering, then you interject to cross-examine. It is not permitted under our rules. With the greatest respect. Please, but I'm saying that, so let's please, I believe that adequate space,
Are you okay?
I believe adequate space will be created so that if you want to ask a follow-up question, it could be granted. But the interjection is what I'm worried about.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Ayene had every right to stand up. The director had called his name in relation to a question he had asked. And so to say that the Honorable is basically interjecting, this Honorable member will not do that. Of course.
Honorable,
I agree. But to say that of the Honorable member is
Honorable Deputy Leader. Yes, Honorable Dominic Aini, just finish your point of order.
So, Mr. Speaker, his own last slide is what I'm relying on. And in that slide, he said there are 2,565,705 eligible persons who are yet to be registered. Okay? It's not that you're misquoting him. I'm not misquoting him. Then he said in the slide that 642,403 printed cards have not yet been collected. Is that not correct? Then he says that 541,529 not yet printed, meaning that if you add the 2.5 to these figures, as at now, the number of Ghanaians who do not have the card is 3,749,639. And that is the reason I asked the EC chair that if today the EC chair had her instrument passed, these Ghanaians will not be able to walk to the registration center to register. Is that true or not?
Well.
Yes.
Honourable members, he has asked his question. Let's listen to the Executive Secretary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is true that I said that the number of Ghanaians aged 15 years and above, please, 15 years and above, who are yet to be registered is that I said that the number of cards printed but not yet collected is 642,403. And finally, it is true that I said that the number of cards not yet printed is 541,529. Mr. Chairman, those statements are statements of fact, but they do not entitle anyone to add the number of unprinted cards, the number of persons, and the number of persons who have not collected their cards, and presume that all of those are persons eligible to vote or to register and vote. It's a complete miscalculation. That is not the point, because the persons aged 15 and above who have not yet registered, 15s, it includes minors. 15 and above includes persons who are minors. So you cannot draw the conclusion that these people are entitled to register. So that is it. That is number one. So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, I have not.
Honourable members, please, it's better we remain silent so that you'll be able to hear him well. If you wouldn't hear anything. Please, Honourable Adongo, please take your seat. Take your seat. You take your seat. Let him finish answering the question. Take your seat. Yes.
Second, Mr. Speaker, the number of cards not yet printed, I have given the assurance to this Honourable House that given the resources, we will be able to print those cards in 11 days. And I've also, Mr. Speaker, as I sit here, I've received notification from the Honourable Deputy Minister for Finance, Honourable Abina Osei Asari, that the 20 million that was outstanding has that the 100 million that was outstanding has been completely paid off, paving way for the conversation that will result in the release of cards for us to print the 541,529. So, Mr. Speaker, it does not follow that such a number of people will not be eligible to vote. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to also speak to the issue that Honourable Mahama Ayariga raised about the shall and may, or the may and the shall. Mr. Speaker, it is the case that Section 29 of NIA's Parent Act at 750, as amended, provides as follows: a national identity card may be used to facilitate. A national identity card may be used to, facilitate the process of an application for personal information. The process of an application for personal information that has been recorded as an entry in a specified part of the register for an individual. So it is a process. The card may be required to facilitate the process of an application for information that is stored in a specified part of the register of an individual. Second, the provision of personal information to a ask NIA for information on a particular person. The police may ask the person for their ID card. then use that ID card to, as part of the process, to access information from NIA. And I can assure the Honourable Member of Parliament that the Ghana Police Service and the IOCO and the intelligence community have taken advantage of this law, this provision, and asked for information. When they do, they may take information about the person. They may use a person's Ghana card and say to NIA, this is the person's personal identification number. Give us information on the person. That is the may use. That is the optional use of the card. At 750. When you come to LI 2111, Regulation 7 of LI 2111, what it provides is that a national identity card issued to an individual shall be used for the following transactions where identification is required. The emphasis there, Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker, there are two separate and distinct things. One is for the establishment of the identity of a person. The other is for requesting for information stored in a person. So for verification purposes, for example, a person may request for information using the Ghana card. But when it comes to identification of a person, then the Ghana card shall be required. Mr. Speaker, that is my understanding of the distinction between the two provisions. I think
Honorable Dafiam, about you've never had the opportunity. You already spoken. You've spoken. I'll give you the opportunity. You sit down. Let him continue the answering.
Mr. Speaker, there was also a question about the difference between NIA's guarantor system and Electoral Commission's guarantor system. As a chairman of the EC has indicated, ours is a more rigorous system. It requires that the person making the oath, guaranteeing for another person, does so before a commissioner for oaths. It was for that reason that the Chief Justice of the Republic trained over 1,300 commissioners for oaths, whom we deployed at every registration center, so that every person vouching does so before a commissioner for oaths. It enables the trust element to be established. It enables track and tracing, and if you perjure yourself, the consequences are clear. Finally, because of the vouching system, the person who is vouching must have the Ghana card already, and therefore the Ghana card of the person vouching is tied to the person for whom he or she vouches, and forever they are trackable and traceable and can always be found if you make a false vouching that someone is a Ghanaian when the person is not. In the EC system, the vouching is done by any person. It is not done by a specified set of persons. In the NIA system, it is one relative who already has the Ghana card, or two persons qualified by law through the governing board of NIA. And again, those two persons qualified by a certain elevated criteria must also have had their Ghana cards. In the EC system, that is not the arrangement. So that is why the chairman of the EC said the NIA system is more robust and it allows for this tracking and tracing, which can lead to the prosecution of persons who have falsely vouched for the identities of asks whether NIA can print the cards within 11 days if given the funds. I think I've answered it loud and clear. Yes, we can. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. I think there were some questions to the finance minister. Honorable Okujocha Brata is saying you.
Because from the slides, we only have the regional global figures, but we don't have constituency by constituency.
Yes,
for the 276
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Okujocha Brata is right. The Honorable Member of Parliament is right. And indeed, I promised to give that. I have it here, and I can give it. I have the... just a second. Yeah. I have the Excel here. We can connect and I can project it. But every region and every district you want, I have it here and I can give it to you, sir. As at the 19th of February 2023. You want me to?
Yeah, Chairman, please, Chairman, we'll need your ruling so that it will be made available to us. It's germane.
No, I'm not taking any questions again.
No, Chairman, please roll. Give a direction. No, it's important. We can't leave it hanging.
Honorable,
let's resolve this.
Honorable Damfiamapo, you were signaling that time. I'm not taking any questions.
No, that's one thing.
You were signaling me time, isn't it?
It's very important.
You were signaling me.
Yes, so you can rule that a copy will be made available for members. That's all. Rule that members can get copies of the report that has been requested. That will be made available to members. We want your ruling that will be made available to members
of the Excel.
Yes.
Chief Executive Officer of the NIA interpret Regulation 7, Sub-Regulation E of LI 211.
Honorable Dafiamapo, I've not given you the opportunity.
Mr.
The interpretation,
Mr. Speaker,
that is your understanding,
Mr. Speaker,
and that is his understanding.
No, I want to ask him a question. And the question is this: that if you interpret the law the way you have done, then over 2 million cards that you have not given to Ghanaians, can you expect those people a mandatory use of the card that you have not issued to them? Or you have not issued the card to the people? Can it be expected that the 2.something million people, there will be a mandatory requirement for them to use the card, as you have interpreted in the law? So the law says issue cards. Issued. That is why the emphasis is. So stop misreading the law. Stop that. Let the copies be made available today. Let the copies be available today to members. Mr.
NIA should be availed now. I think that is impracticable. In any event, as I keep saying, the rules of the House apply even in plenary. And the rules provide, again, Rule 67, 1H. A question shall not be asked, the answer to which is readily available in official publication. He's quoting from his official publication. I don't know, apply yourself to the rules, and you appreciate what you are doing. And these shenanigans we see, apply yourself to the rules. But Mr. Speaker, if members need it, and the instruction, the directive is that it should be supplied. It's all well and good, but I'm just saying that this insistence is really superfluous. It's superfluous because you are required to access the official publication on their website. Who told you? Who told you? Your phone is limited. Your phone is limited. Your phone is limited.
Yes, honourable member for Northtown, I think the information you requested is being ruled out.
So we need copies so we can analyze.
We're going to give hard copies.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Opportunity to also honourable members. Example, take your seat, please. Honourable Example, take your seat. Oh, honourable members. We are now giving the opportunity to the finance minister. Some of the questions were directed to him. So, Honorable Jaya.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think that the main question was about the 100 million cedis to be transferred to Cal Bank IMS. And as has been confirmed by the Director for NIA, we have indeed transferred the 80 million Ghana cedis, and today swift instructions for the 20 million has also been executed. So, Mr. Speaker, that we've agreed with CAL. Mr. Speaker, we do take elections very seriously, and as I mentioned in the last election, we actually ensured appropriate amounts were paid to the Electoral Commission to ensure that we had a successful. I will continue to do the same, and let me assure this House that all expenses related to this will be duly complied with. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honourable members, honourable member for Northtown, there's no further questions. Please.
No, Mr. Chair, we're asking for evidence. Evidence.
Honourable members, let's now come to leadership. Leadership, do you have any concerns to raise?
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, let the leadership ask the president.